Hello, welcome back to Learn Astrology with Mary, Astro Mary. My name's Mary English and I'm an astrologer that works in private practice in the UK. And as I said last week, this week we're going to be looking at working with getting a feel for Yods, Y-O-D. And if you've just joined this podcast, I do urge you to go right back to the beginning and listen to the first few lessons, because this is a beginner course to astrology, and if you dive in now today to Yods, you're going to go and it's all going to be really difficult. So I do recommend, and each of the podcasts is free, you don't have to pay a thing. Go right back to the beginning and work your way through until you get to the lessons. So for previous listeners, this week we're discussing Yods. Now the reason, I would have covered this anyway, but what prompted me to specifically do this is last week I was looking at Michael's chart. Thank you, Michael, for volunteering. And looking at his chart, I realised, crikey, the whole of his chart is a Yod. Now then, so what's a Yod? Now, a few lessons back, we learnt about aspects, and aspects are the mathematical relationships between each planet. So we learnt about conjunctions and sextiles and trines and oppositions. Now, a Yod, it comprises of two different aspects, one of which you won't have come across already, and it's called an inconjunct, and it's also called a quincunx. I really can't find too many people that like to call it a quincunx, because of the last bit of the word is a bit of a difficult one to get your mouth around correctly without saying it wrong. And the degrees and aspects in an inconjunct is that one planet is 150 degrees away from another, and there's two inconjuncts in it and one sextile, so that what you end up with shape-wise is an isosceles triangle, so a very, very extended triangle, and which will point to some point in the chart, and we'll come on to that in a minute. But the shape of it, when you look at the aspect patterns, because we talked about aspect patterns, things like grand trines and grand crosses and other things. I think I talked about those. Yes, I have. So when you're looking at a chart, what you're looking for is a very strange triangle shape. And if you're using astro.com, which I urge you to do, because I don't know what program you're going to be using, so I can't highlight it for you, but when you make the chart up, you'll see some green lines in the centre of the chart. Now all the other lines, the predominant lines, are either blue or red, and they're representing either challenging or what's the opposite of challenging? Comfortable aspects and degrees between your planets. But if you see lots of green lines going on, most of those green lines, in fact all of those green lines are going to be inconjuncts. But for it to make a Yod, the two inconjuncts need to be joined by a sextile. So there you go, get your head around that. So inconjuncts are 150 degrees, sextiles are 60 degrees. Now, you won't be able to look at my example chart because you're not mates with Michael, so you're not going to see what I'm seeing. So I suggest that you go to Astro Data Bank and stick in the Google box in the top right hand corner, Duke of Cambridge William, or just write Prince William, will come up. And he was born on the 21st of June 1982. So the Duke of Cambridge is the son to Lady or Princess Diana and Prince Charles, so he's sort of next in line to the throne when or if Prince Charles ever gets the job and then pops it. And you can get far more information about Yods, because we're only going to cover it briefly today. We don't go into anything too depth. This is an introduction after all. Do get yourself a copy of this wonderful book by Karen, I couldn't remember her name last week. It's Karen Hamaker-Zondag. So the Hamaker is spelled Hamaker and then a dash Zondag. She has written about it extensively, and her book is called, interestingly, The Yod Book, and it's published by Samuel Weiser. But you can get that on Amazon, the Yod book. So if you've got a Yod and you want to know much more about it, I do urge you to get that book, because it's absolutely brilliant. She explains not only Yods but also unaspected planets. Oh gosh, you can go on forever. So go over to astro.com, not astro.com, beg your pardon, go over to Astro Data Bank, stick in Prince, who are we doing? We're doing Prince William, the Duke of Cambridge William, and get his chart up. You've got the option when you get to his page where it says natal chart, English style, equal houses. Please use the equal house system, because I'm not going to be talking to you in other systems. We are learning in this introduction to astrology, we're learning about the equal house system. And in his chart, he's got quite a lot of inconjuncts that go on in his chart, but only 2 of them form his yod. Now when you look at it, you'll see that the yod is pointing down to the bottom right. So where the yod points to, so the point of the isosceles triangle, it aims at his Venus. And the key thing to a yod, what's a yod all about? It represents the finger of God, because I think the word yod is Jewish or Hebrew or something for hand. And in astrology, a yod represents the finger of God. So it's, if you imagine having a yod in your chart, where it points to is where part of your life purpose needs to happen, where you need to have some sort of focus. The planet that it aims at, because it's going to be comprising of 3 planets. Now the difference between a yod and other aspect shades like grand trine, sextiles, grand crosses and all of this, is that because it's 150 degrees between 2 segments of it, those will then unite 2 segments that aren't of the same element. So it has a sort of what's the word I want to use? A sort of it's not a smooth, it's sort of a disjointed connection. So in Prince William's case, his Venus is in the sign of Taurus, his Pluto is in the sign of Libra, and his Neptune is in the sign of Sagittarius. And those are all being united. So we've got air, fire, and earth. And you cannot combine those 3 elements easily. And so internally, for a person that possesses a yod, they have an internal discomfort, I suppose is the way of putting it. And if you've got a lot of yods in your chart, and I've got 2, my 2 yods face each other, then you'll find that you have a life that toodles along for an amount of time, then all of a sudden everything falls apart. So I tend to advise people that have a yod in their chart, sort of have a little bag packed, sort of an emergency bag for when, when all the shit hits the fan and stuff, because you're just going to have to accept, no matter how much work you do on yourself, occasionally the whole of your life will just fall apart. And if not your life, then people close to you. So to manage a yod and to get the best of it is to always make sure that you have a break glass thing, you have a little bag packed, you have some sort of way of dealing with large crises. I don't know how you say that plural it, but a lot of crises. So you have mentally, a strategy for when everything goes tits up. So it might be that you need to mentally prepare yourself by having something that you can do that's relaxing, or some friends that you can talk to, or a place that you can go to that you feel safe. So people that have got yods, and Michael, this would be in your case as well, make sure that you have some way or something that you can smooth the energies of this discordant, because a yod is basically discordant. It's not a smooth flow within the chart. It's a bit difficult talking about yods because I've got one, I would sort of think everybody must have this. Now in Michael's case, the whole of his chart is a yod. Get him. He's got a bucket-shaped chart, all the planets on one side of the circle and one in opposition. He's got his Jupiter in opposition, but his let's think now, 7 of his planets comprise his yod. So you've only got 10 planets in your chart, and to have 7 of them forming a yod, or at least being in the centre of the yod, because he's got quite a lot of things that are in opposition as well. That's a whopping amount of planets. So as I suggest, make sure that you have when everything does go ever so weird, make sure you've got for yourself a strategy in place that you can quickly go to and know that this is your calm, cool space to be able to do stuff. And in his case, in Michael's case, his Yod points to his Jupiter. And Jupiter is the planet of faith and belief. It's retrograde in the sign of Cancer. It's in his 11th house. So where his Yod points to, part of his life purpose is to help people locally, because Cancer is a local sign. Jupiter is about faith, belief, and sort of philosophy and spirituality. And in the 11th house, where it's pointing is probably part of his life purpose is to unite people locally to some form of spirituality, and I'm using spirituality in a broad sense here, as a group. So maybe be part of a group, or to be involved in a group, or to lead a group. And in the 11th house is about altruism and saving the planet and stuff. So where his Yod points to is important. Now I can't remember, where do my Yods point? I've got so many. Find the flipping things. My Yods, one of them points to my Saturn in the 5th, and the other points to my Uranus in the 12th. So my Uranus in the 12th is I help a lot of people with mental health issues, and my other one points to my Saturn in the 5th. The 5th is about creativity, romance, and creating things. And I do take seriously my creativity, and I classify my astrology and my writing. I don't take them seriously. I might use a sort of a gentle, fluffy way of describing things, but I do it seriously and take it seriously. In the sign of Capricorn, it's about seriousness. Yeah. And in Prince William, the Duke of William, what we want to call him, his points to his 5th house, which is creativity, and his Venus is in there, and it's also the section of the chart to do with babies. Not that blokes give birth, but I think he quite enjoys being a dad, and I think he very much enjoys being a partner as well. And he is sun sign Cancer. They just love the whole family thing. So I think he's actually utilising his Yod now. He's had obviously lots of difficulties in the past, with losing his mum so early in such a horrible way. So if you are making your chart up, and if you've got a splash chart, you're more likely to have a Yod. If you've got a bucket chart, you're more likely to have a Yod. If you've got a bowl, it ain't going to happen. There's no way that the aspects will be able to form one, I don't think. Possibly you might have one if you've got a bowl. I don't know how the maths of that would work out. No, because it's 150 degrees, and sometimes you've got all your planets on one side of the circle. There's no way you can get two lots of 150 degrees pointing between a sextile. And so if you want to know more about it, do grab Karen Hammaker's Zondag's book. That'll give you some more information. If you've got a Yod in your chart, or some friends or family who charts that you're making up have got Yods in there, don't panic. It's not fatal. I'm in my 50s now, and it hasn't killed me yet. But do make sure that when you do have a Yod, that you've got your get out clause, you've got your way to, because it's uniting 3 elements. Unlike, fire and air together, or earth and water, it slaps in another one into the aspect shape. So it jiggles things around and stops them sort of being smooth. It's a bit like sort of fracking. It's everything sort of goes, it's and depending what planets it links. In Michael's case, it links his Jupiter, his Mars, and his Venus. Those are nice things to link. In fact, I think that's almost similar to Prince Doody does. Aquarius, Sagittarius. No, his is Libra and Sagittarius. Sign-wise, I was just thinking, crikey, that'd be crazy if it's doing the same thing. And in Michael's case, it's uniting water, air, and fire. In Prince William's case, it's uniting fire, air, earth, and mine's all over the place. It's uniting earth, fire, and water. And my other one is air, fire, earth. Yes, because 2 of the Yods are joined to the other 2 Yods. It's crazy much. Don't look at it. So Yods, inconjuncts, sextiles. Some people have them, some people don't. I think they're a bit more rare. Don't actually see them that much. And when I do see one, actually I have got a client, another client, and this young lady has, her whole chart is is a Yod as well, and it's like she went through a really, really crazy patch in her late teens, a lot of rebelliousness and fighting the system, and it's all calmed down now. She's I think she's a nurse now. She's working in a hospital, I know that much. Yes, yeah. So it helps if you've got a life purpose with a Yod. It doesn't do much if you don't have one. There'll be that sense of disconnect and unsatisfaction. I think when I found my life purpose, my Yod's quite calmed down. And as you look at them on astro.com, if you make a chart up, they're going to be green lines uniting the inconjuncts. Yeah. Oh, and the symbol for it. So a sextile is, the symbol for a sextile looks like a little sort of star. The symbol for an inconjunct, and on astro.com you make a chart up, it's going to be in green. It looks like a little table with two sort of an A-frame legs. Now there is a symbol that's the opposite of that. For goodness sakes, don't ask me what it is. I think it says sesquidrate or something. But it looks like a little table. So it's got an A-frame for the base and a little line going over the top. But that's the actual symbol for it. So I hope you have a fabulous week, and we'll check in again next week. And I hope you have a fab time. Thank you. Bye-bye now.